Truth Minister Paul Scott, Militant Mind Militia. You know, from the day we're born, we're taught to believe myths and fairy tales. Whether it be a tooth fairy or an old dude in a bright red suit riding around the hood in a red sleigh led by a red-nosed reindeer. And then when we start going to school, the miseducational system, we're taught about a lost sailor named Chris who discovered America. We're talking about an honest Abe who freed the quote-unquote slaves. We're taught all these myths. But one urban legend that we really haven't dealt with is the legend, the myth, the hoax that hip-hop came out of the hood. Now, of course, hip-hop had its origins in the Bronx, and that's history. When you're dealing with Grandmaster Flash, Kool Herc, Africa Bambaataa. But the hip-hop that you hear on the radio, that commercial junk that's known as hip-hop right now, that didn't come out of the hood. That form of hip-hop had its origins at Ivy League schools like Harvard University. Let's look at the evidence. The Source magazine is probably the most influential source about hip-hop ever. And you would think that the owners of the Source magazine came out of the hood, right? Wrong. They started the Source magazine while they were at Harvard University. The second most influential magazine dealing with hip-hop would be Vibe. Did you know that the CEO of Vibe magazine actually has a master's degree or had a master's degree from Harvard University? And he was head of Vibe magazine during the Tupac Biggie East Coast beef, East Coast West Coast beef, which leads me to believe that the whole East Coast West Coast beef, as well as the beefs of today, have nothing to do with personal feelings. It's just a scheme, a master plan by the record companies to sell CDs regardless of who gets hurt, who gets killed. See, what the record companies do is they have commissioned Harvard to do studies about black music. And this is going back to 1971 when they did the first study. In 1996, they did the second study, this time dealing with hip-hop and how to market hip-hop to mainstream America. And you think that all of this is originating from the hood, and it's not. Now, the curious thing about Harvard University is that not only do they have a law school and a business school that's world-renowned, they also deal with mind control experiments. And this is going back to 1962 when a Dr. Timothy Leary, a Harvard professor, did mind control experiments using psychedelic drugs. Now, what does that have to do with hip-hop? Well, it could explain why one of the top rappers right now is walking around with an ice cream cone on the side of his face. Normal people don't do that kind of stuff. So the point is that all of this that you think is originating from the hood is not. So the next time your favorite rapper, you see a new rapper pop up, he might not come from the hood. He might not come from Marcy Projects, but he might be the product of a science experiment, a project done at Harvard University. To read this whole article about the hip-hop hoax, go to militantmindmilitia.com. Truth Minister Paul Scott, Militant Mind Militia. Peace.